As I made my way to catch the ones in front of me, I passed the Santa Maria Spring Rest House. Came upon the most treacherous part of the trail that I'd yet encountered. First, I encountered boulder-choked chutes that made steady progress impossible. Then I had a half a mile traverse through the rocky jungle of slide debris, and that's when it happened. I fell. Now, it happened so quickly, I'm not sure how it happened. Shifting rocks beneath my feet coupled with 30 pounds on my back made it impossible for me to catch myself, and down I went. As I sat on the trail, I took stock of my injuries. Fortunately, they were minor, just scrapes and abrasions and bruises. I'd be able to continue the hike, but I'd have some aches and pains while doing so. The worst thing, though, was the fact that I fell on one of my cameras. I was carrying 2 action cameras to film this trip. One, a combination camera gimbal to film as I was moving. The other was intended to be used to film up close and personal. That was the one I fell on, which gave me bruised ribs from the attached handle. While it still worked, it now had a large scratch across the lens. I wasn't sure how it would affect the videos that I intended to make the rest of the way. I eventually caught up with the guys ahead of me while they were taking a break. Once we resumed our trek, we were soon in 2 different groups, with Larry, James, and J.K. in front, followed by Mike, Gary, and myself. I kept looking back for the group behind me, but I wouldn't see them again until we were hiking out the last day. At this time of year, darkness comes early in the Grand Canyon, and our late departure caught up with us. We hiked the final 2 hours in the dark. Fortunately, we had headlamps to light the path before us. We set up camp, and we continued to look for any sign of Rodney, Lynn, or Jim.
Okay, we're at the start of day 2. We're at Monument Creek Camp. Everybody's around, getting up and doing breakfast. Mike's falling. Three of our hikers didn't make it yesterday, so we hope that they turned around. We had one hiker that's real slow, and we think the other 2 we're staying with him. So this is our counter over here. You can see the packets of what I had this morning for breakfast. I had Constant Comment black tea, hot. I had Quaker apples and cinnamon oatmeal, and I had bacon jerky.
We're heading up day 2. We've had breakfast, broke camp, treated water. Still wondering where our they're casting lots to see who goes first. And now we're going. We've got 3 youngsters that go a little faster than the rest of us, and so we always let them at the beginning. All right, had to change the battery out in my camera. We are headed down. We just went over a little rise. We're on the Tonto Trail, and when you stop and pan over this way, and I'll go down, probably a little bit much there. There's the Colorado River. This is a lot easier trail to hike than the one we were on yesterday. It's very narrow in places, but very smooth, not having a lot of rocks that we have to go over. Kind of walking off camber here because the trail is not perfectly level. So the pole is really kind of a nice thing, kind of keep you upright. I was trying it there for a moment without the poles.
One of the things that happens on the trail is that the temperatures change. It was pretty cool when we started off this morning, and so now we're making a stop to shed some layers. Sun's out, it's going to be a nice day.
Does that mean we need to stop here?
No.
Well, we just went over a ridge on Tonto Trail, heading toward Monument Creek Camp. Now, Monument Creek is named because there's a hoodoo. Now, we most often associate hoodoos
which is a geological formation with Bryce Canyon, Utah. It's just packed with them. But I've noticed something as I've hiked. Going downhill hiking, you begin to feel exactly like going uphill riding a bike. I used to do a lot of bicycling, and I just hated hills because you just dig and dig, and your thighs will start burning. And here, I've noticed that as we go down, that I'm using the same muscles, I think, maybe in a different direction, but really begin to burn after a while. And that, in fact, you almost look forward to a little uphill spot. But this is a beautiful scenery. Just whichever way you go, it's just phenomenal, just phenomenal. And it's a shame that of the 6.2 million people that visit the canyon each year, it was said by one of our guys that if you stand on the top and look down into the canyon, you're looking at a picture. But if you're down here backpacking, hiking, you're part of that picture. So it's pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal. This will be a lot shorter day, thank goodness. Yesterday was a tough day. I've been hiking now for the last I've been hiking pretty often for the last 3 years. And the hike yesterday down Tonto Trail, or Hermit Trail, excuse me, was the hardest hike I've ever done. Hardest hike. It took us, we were almost 9 hours to go those 8.5 or 8.7 miles, whatever the mileage actually is. Got in, and it was windy, and trying to set up tents in the wind. Fortunately, my sleeping bag with the liner was very, very comfortable, so I slept. But my legs are a little shaky today as we hike. I'm taking a few more rest stops along the way than what I would anticipate.
After arriving at Monument Creek Camp, 2 different hikers came into our campsite to tell us that they'd seen Rodney, Lynn, and Jim earlier in the day as they made their way up Hermit's Trail. Because of the slow pace of our new hiker and their concern for him, they'd spent the night on the trail and then made the wise decision to hike out and wait for us at the top. Unlike the leisurely pace of breaking camp yesterday, this morning we move a bit quicker, realizing that today's hike is going to be our longest one yet, over 10.5 miles.
Keep coming. We're leaving Monument Creek Camp, we hope.
The trail out of Monument Creek Camp was a series of switchbacks that seemed to go straight up. It's just not fair to have to do that right off the bat. We were breathing heavily within minutes. The trail ascends 250 feet via those switchbacks within the first half mile, and then it hits the traverse above the canyon that we've been hiking on the previous day. The Tonto Trail doesn't have a trailhead at either rim of the Grand Canyon. It begins along the south bank of the Colorado River at Garnet Canyon on the western end, and it ends at Red Canyon on the eastern end. Through most of its 70-mile length, the trail runs along what's called the Tonto Platform, the bench in the Grand Canyon that separates the inner gorge from the upper canyon. Once again, our hiking tempos caused us to spread out. Larry, James, and J.K. led the way, and then Mike, Gary, and I. Because I was shooting video and taking lots of photos, I was in a hurry and catch-up mode much of the day.
Someone asked me one time what it looked like in the bottom of the Grand Canyon as you're hiking. I said it looks a lot like my feet because these trails can be treacherous. So you keep your eyes down. Then you have to stop and every now and then. Take a look around you. Here we are at Salt Creek. We just crossed over, and I think we have one more of these crossings before we get back into Indian Garden today. Okay, it's Friday morning. We're breaking camp here at Indian Garden. Very cold last night, but I think most of us slept okay.
Today is our final day. We leave Indian Garden Campground with the Bright Angel Trailhead as our destination. But today is also one of our harder days. As soon as you step out of the campsite onto Bright Angel Trail, you go up. Although it's only 4.6 miles, we have to climb 3,000 feet in that distance.
Well, we're on our way up. I told the guys not to look forward. It gets depressing. You can see how much we have to climb. It's a spectacular view here. Spectacular view. I'm still waiting for them to put in the escalators. Well, here at the switchbacks. I don't know if this is the one called Devil's Corkscrew or not, but you can see the one couple and up, and they're fixing to make the turn. You see them coming back.
As we head up, Gary and I find ourselves hiking behind the rest of the group. Gary's having some issues with his knee, and so he's having to take frequent rest breaks. Eventually, he's able to alter how you're stepping over the various steps and to take some of the strain off the sore knee. We were both running a little short on water. In the past, we were able to refill our water bottles at the 2 rest stops along the trail, but this year, because of the cold weather, the water had been turned off to prevent pipes from freezing. At the 3-mile rest stop, I was able to get a phone signal. I called Larry to tell him about Gary's difficulties and that we were several hours behind them. Well, Rodney and Lynn took it upon themselves to hike down and meet us at the 1.5-mile rest stop, and then they offered to carry our packs. We were more than willing to take them up on their offer.
All right, we're getting close to being out. This is my friend Lynn who came down to help Gary and I out, he and Rodney. And they grabbed a pack, and they were our trail angels today. But down behind you'll see the trails leading back to Indian Garden where we left this morning. It's been a cold, cold day, but we're here.
The end was near. We could see the tunnel carved in the rock on the trail ahead of us, but we did get one more treat. A herd of bighorn sheep made an appearance, to the delight of everyone. It's been a tough 4 days, but we made it. In spite of the cold weather, the tough terrain, the falls, and the old bodies, we'd made it. Would I do it again? You bet. In fact, I'm already making plans to come back next year. I'm inviting Rodney and Lynn, who helped a friend get safely out of the canyon, and I'm inviting my friend Bill, who was unable to go after being with me on every trip I've made the past 4 years. So keep your eyes open for what I'm already calling the Grand Canyon do-over.